Welcome, and thank you for choosing freeconferencecall.com. You're helping people around the world communicate for free. Please enter your access code followed by the password. Appreciate you.
Okay. All right, if you guys are ready, Ms. Halterman.
Yes.
Okay. All right, if I could have your attention, I'd like to call to order the September 15th, 2025 meeting of the Alleghany Highlands School Board. If you will, stand if you're able for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And now our pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here and being patient with our technical difficulties. Ms. Willis, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Frampton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Morgan. Mrs. Scruggs Duncan.
Here.
Mr. Umstead.
Pleasure to be here.
Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Brookman.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to announce the following additions to today's agenda under item 26-101, closed session 2.2-3711A19. Discussion of school safety reports will be added. That will bring us to our leadoff for this evening, item 26-76. We have some commendations, a recognition of specific SOL successes. Ms. Halterman.
Chairman Eric, members of the board, we have a number of students who did very, very well on their SOL tests, and that's certainly true across the division, but that also does mean that we have a number of students who are celebrating perfect scores from the 24-25 school year. So their principals would like to assist in recognizing them tonight with you all and present them some certificates.
Where should we begin? Who's leading on for us?
Okay, we'll go first.
I was going to say, Ms. Atkins was there. Mr. Jones was coming.
Okay, sorry. I'm Lori Matson, the principal at Covington Middle School. I'd like Ms. Stanton to please come up since this was on her watch. We would like to recognize Maddox Hale for a perfect score, and Miss Fields was his teacher, so if they could come. Ms. Fields, come on up.
No, I'm all right.
And as a request for Mr. Gleason, if you all could just hang around until we're all done, because we'd like to get a nice photo of everybody. So thank you very much.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. We're also blessed to have some students that got perfect scores last year on the SOL. We had 3 students that received perfect scores. one student received 2 perfect scores, which is outstanding, but we congratulate all of our students here. Our first student is Adeline Clark. Adeline, come on up. Adeline received a 600 on the 4th grade Virginia Studies test, so congratulations. All right, our next student is Wyatt Butler. Wyatt's under the weather tonight. He couldn't be here, but he also received a 600 in 4th grade Virginia Studies. And our final student is Mason Brantley. Mason received a 600 in 4th grade Virginia Studies and also a 600 in 4th grade reading, which is outstanding for one, but two perfect scores is something else. Congratulations.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm sorry, excuse me. Hello, Chairman Arrett, board members, and Mrs. Halterman. We're excited tonight to recognize several of our students here at Jeter Watson. So we'll start by recognizing Lucas Brookman. Lucas Brookman had a perfect score on his 3rd grade math SOL test, and his teacher was Mrs. Gillespie. All right. The next student being recognized is Gideon Conrad. Gideon Conrad has 2 perfect scores. He has a perfect score on his grade 4 math SOL test and his Virginia Studies SOL test, and his teacher was Joshua Seville, and Joshua is here tonight. Mr. Seville is here to recognize him as well. Another student that will be recognized is a former Jeter Watson student. He is now in the 6th grade. Lucas Dudley, he had a perfect score on his grade 4 science test. Brenda Lowe was his teacher, and we're glad to recognize him tonight, Lucas Dudley. One more, we have Raina Lopez. Raina Lopez, grade 4 reading SOL test, perfect score, and her teacher was Tanya Easton. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here to present some awards to 2 of Callahan's students, taught by Mrs. Fox in Virginia Studies. Our first one is Emma Baker, who received a perfect score in Virginia Studies. And I'm not sure this other young man is, oh, weird on pictures. I'm not sure this other young man is with us tonight, but I don't see him anywhere. But Zayden Meadows also scored a perfect 600 on his Virginia Studies. That's so I have to tell
tell you what's funny about Emma. I taught her brother the year before, and he got a 600. So on day one, she said, "Can I get a 601?" So now I get her brother Isaac next year. He has a family legacy.
Very good question. Very good question. I think by my list here, is that all the ones that we have? Okay, certainly don't want to move on and miss recognition there. So again, any of our perfect SOL score people, if you will, Mr. Gleason is going to escort you all. If you'll follow him out, he'd like to get a picture of all of you all together. Thank you all very much. Let's give these children a All right. We'll continue on as they filter out to go get their picture taken. That would then bring us to item 26-77, instructional spotlight. So, Ms. Halterman, I believe you're up once again.
Chairman Erickson, the board are glad to bring you back to the instructional spotlight. Now the school year has started again, and there's some more content for you. And so we're going to hear from Ms. Fox again, who's going to share with us about some reading techniques. So we really appreciate her being here tonight. Thank you.
I'll wait till everybody gets in.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you guys stretched in there. So you take your time.
You are totally fine. You are totally fine. Good afternoon or evening, everyone. My name is Allison Fox. I teach 4th grade at Callahan Elementary School. I am going into my 5th year of teaching, all in reading and Virginia studies, which I absolutely adore. So I'm just going to talk to y'all a little bit. One of the big words that we're hearing a lot is morphology, morphology, morphology. And I'll be honest, until I heard it teaching, I had no idea what it was. So let me just tell you a little bit about morphology. Morphology is the study of words and their smallest parts of meanings. Those smallest, most meaningful parts of speech are called morphemes. We start at the top with our, we start with our phonemes, and we go all the way down to morphemes. Morphology can be broken down into its actual morphemes. Morph means to form. Logos, which in this case it's ology, it means the study of. Morphology literally means the study of forming words. You can kind of see with this little graphic right here that words are made up of morphemes, and that's usually your prefix, your suffix, and then your root or your base word. And then on this slide, I just found this little graphic and I really liked it. Morphology, it aids you in reading comprehension. It helps you decode new words. You build vocabulary. You focus on word meanings. Morphology is there to help you. It is there especially to start helping our 3 through 5 learner, or 3 and up learners. In K through 2, a lot of times we hear you're learning to read, but in K through, and then in 3rd grade, you switch to reading to learn. That's where morphology comes into play. So here are some examples. This is what I have my kids do all the time. We look at a word, and I tell them, the first thing I want you to do is identify your base word. A base word can stand on its own. For example, in the word move. Now that's a base word. A root word is a little different. However, in 4th grade, our main focus right now is base words, and we're working up to roots. Then you're going to look. Can that word stand on its own? Does it have a prefix? Does it have a suffix? So for example, in the word removable, move is your base word. We add re, that means again. Able means able to. Removable literally means able to move again. Now, like an autobiographer, that has your root words in place. Root words aren't words that have to stand on their own. We know that, bio, that's not technically a word that stands on its own. That's why it's a root word. One of the other things kiddos have to be able to do, though, too, for example, like one of our suffixes we know is ly, L-Y. So if you have the word happily, happy is your base word, ly is your suffix. They have to be able to, if they look at the word sly does, the ly and that's not a suffix. That is just part of the word. So that is something that they have to be able to do. At Callahan, we've really bought into morphology this year. We do interactive notes. I actually bought my interactive notebook that I do with my kids. The whole first week of school, I spend doing morphology and word analysis because I think that's a skill. If you teach it at the beginning, you spiral back through again and again and again. Every single thing that I do, I incorporate morphology into. We do it in small groups. We do it with those HQIM materials, specifically Morpheme Magic and Vocabulary Search. And I actually put a link in there. This is one of our 5th grade teachers' lesson plans to Morpheme Magic, or it's what she sends if you want to click on that. And this is, oh, you don't have to click on it, it's okay. You don't have to. But it's Miss Bray, who is absolutely fantastic. What she does, this has taken place of our spelling test in 4th through 5th grade. We no longer do traditional spelling tests of here's your 20 words, go home, memorize them, we're going to do it. Me personally, and this is something that even me and Miss Bray and our Title I teacher, Miss Thompson, have talked about. We personally feel by the time you get to about 4th, 5th grade, if you can't spell, you probably aren't going to be able to spell. I mean, I was one of those people. I struggled to spell. We're still going to teach you. But I'm more concerned, can you read that word and do you know what it means? We got spell check. I mean, I'm one of those people. I use spell check all the time. I want to know, do you know what it means? So we have went to morphology tests instead of spelling tests. I love to use task cards. I put them up around my room. We break words down within a passage. When I'm doing a passage, my kids know I better have a highlighter and I better have a pencil because Miss Fox is going to make me highlight and write things. And that's what we're doing. I'm like, oh, hey, do we see this word? What does it have a prefix? Does it have a suffix? And then it is constant review and application. And I think on our next page, I have put some pictures. So this was actually out of one of my kiddos' interactive notebooks. I call them flappies. You can open up those flaps and we put our notes underneath. I put anchor charts in there of our most common prefixes and suffixes. That way they can always just have something to go back to. And then, like even in mine, I have more in mine, or we put them in theirs, but we make lists. I mean, we are constantly talking about it. And then our next page, this is actually a spelling test that one of our 5th graders did this past week. The skill was, I can't see that far, LY. It was LY. So what Miss Bray did last week, at least in hers, those kids learned how do you spell a word, how do you go from a base word, and when you add LY, what happens? Because sometimes you're dropping letters, you're doubling letters. We want them to be able to do that. So they're doing morphology tests. So instead of spelling the whole word, they're given the base word and then they add the affix. So this was LY. This upcoming week, I believe Miss Bray said they're doing ER. So like you can see, she had the word careful, and when we asked her to make that carefully, she forgot to double that. She forgot to double the L. But it gets doubled because it ends in that consonant, all of that good stuff. And then I think I have one more, but I'm done. Or that might be it. Oh, this is my favorite. Cross-curricular morphology. I love to teach Virginia Studies, and there's a lot of really big words in Virginia Studies that can be above a 4th grader's regular scope of knowledge. So words can be broken down into any subject or grade. We do it in math, we do it in science, we do it in social studies. By incorporating that morphology in all subjects, students are constantly getting that spiral review and a better understanding of certain topics. So for example, in our BS 8 unit, which is Reconstruction, I start with, what does Reconstruction mean? You can hear the word, you can say it, but do you understand what it means? So one of the things that I teach my kiddos to do is they slash. So we break it apart. You have the word Reconstruction, where's your prefix? Let's identify that with a slash. Let's identify all of our parts. Re means again, construct means build, shun is the active. Reconstruction literally means the act of building again. So then we go into Reconstruction was the act of building our nation again after the Civil War. So this is just a couple of the things we do, but we are constantly talking about word analysis and everything. My kids by the end of the year, they're like, oh my gosh, Miss Fox, another one. I'm like, yes, another one, but you're gonna thank me later, I promise. But I'm really proud of the work that my kiddos have done and the work that we're doing at Callahan of just trying to build that gap in between all of our students. And then this is just, I forgot to show you this. This is just one of our Morphe Magic cards. So this is on what Miss Bray's doing this upcoming week. She uses these. It has, you know, here's our ER/OR words. It has the etymology. Here's some good things to know and some pictures. So she uses these a lot in her class. So if you don't have any questions, I will go sit.
I have one.
Yes.
So, understanding that I'm old, I guess, but the is there a way to blend like any type of check or analysis to see if we are keeping up with the spelling?
So we do. So to us, the spelling is because some of the words get changed. That is spelling to us. We still do spelling. We still talk about spelling, especially up through third grade. But when the words get manipulated and changed, they still need to know spelling rules. So that's kind of how we're doing it up here. Hope that answered your question.
It does. I guess I was just trying to think of a way to blend the two.
So one thing that we have tried doing that, and a lot of our kids, I would say probably 90% of our kids, by the time they get to 4th grade, they've mastered most of their spelling skills. So the kids that still haven't mastered it, they're getting that in Tier 3 instruction in Title 1 as well. So we're still just constantly talking about it, but big thing is understanding what you're reading. Thank y'all so much.
Any other questions?
What grade?
I'm 4th grade, and then Miss Bray's 5th grade. So 4th grade we know is one of the big determinants of what most likely success is going to look like, which puts a lot of pressure on a 4th grade teacher because you want to make sure that you're getting there. But it's a really fun year too because you really start them. They're coming out of that baby stage in 4th grade. They're really coming out of it. So.
Well, if you implant
Yes.
the morphology and then they become experts, word experts.
Yes, exactly. Yes, ma'am.
I had Gemini, one of the AIs, that gave me a quote, and I was supposed to say that I did amazing. And I'm like, I asked it again, are you sure that that's the tense you want me to use? And they were like, yeah, it's becoming a common, you know, it's wrong, but even AI has decided that it can be introduced as standard. So I'm glad you're teaching them the root.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all so much for everything.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. Appreciate it. All right, that would move us then to item 26-78, the consent agenda. This is for action. Contained in the consent agenda is the approval of minutes from the August 18th, 2025 regular meeting, review of bills, and then consideration of approval of the AHS cross-country trip to Mechanicsville / Williamsburg, Virginia, 10/18/2025 to 10/19/2025. Do I have a motion and a second for approval?
You gonna put them all together?
Yes, ma'am.
Make a motion.
Have a motion by Ms. Scruggs Duncan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Mr. Woodson. Any discussion or questions on the consent agenda? If not, roll call please, Ms. Wells.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs Duncan.
Yes.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. That brings us to item 2679, the informational items. Cafeteria report, capital improvement and operational maintenance updates, budget report, division operational updates, and board development materials. And contained in that is 5 items, both 3 instruction, cell phone update, and a recap of opportunities of upcoming events. Ms. Halterman, anything there to spotlight?
I'm certainly happy to take any questions on those, but I imagine those are reasonably self-explanatory. One of the things I would point out there, though, is the VBOS update. That is SOL related. It's got to do with SOL data tracking, and that's a tool the states discontinue to contract with. So that's just the important piece to know about that.
Okay. Any questions on these informational items?
The maintenance update was written, some of it in the future tense. Did the RTU4 get installed on the 8th?
I would defer to Mr. Reed and Ms. Steve Johnson, who's not here right now, to give us a final
It's up,
update, but
it's
it
in?
did go up, like the crane
Great.
took it to the top. Yes, that.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw. Okay, very good.
Is it up and running, or is it just up there right now? It's running.
Okay. Any other questions?
The other thing, not really a question, but thank you for the update from the administration on the cell phone usage. That's good to hear. I think periodic check in on that one will be important. And if anything changes, obviously you guys will let us know. But thank you for that update. Thank you guys for.
Glad it was useful, and we've been really appreciative of our students and parents because we recognize this is a change, right? It is a change, and it's been an adjustment for everyone. So it's really nice to hear that things are going pretty well. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? All right, item 26-80, calendar information. September 19th is VSBA Legislative Advocacy Conference. September 22nd, we have a scheduled work session. October 13th is a holiday. All schools and offices are closed. October 20th will be our regular meeting. November 11th, good Lord, we're already into November for calendar information. Holiday, all schools and offices closed. November 17th will be our regular meeting. And then the annual VSBA convention is November 19th through 21st. Don't suppose we have any questions about the calendar. Moving on then, item 2681, under Budget and Finance, the School Activity Fund Audit. This is for information.
Chairman Eric, members of the board, I asked to speak on this a bit tonight because I get to heap praise upon our finance team, which includes a bunch of school-based professionals as well, who work either as bookkeepers or they work maybe even as teachers to make all of this work out correctly. So this is just a quick report for you that we've heard back from our auditor firm, which is Robinson Farmer Cox and Associates. They audit our school activity funds annually, and around about this time, we'd like to give you all an update on that. They did find those in a very good state, which is always a good thing and really does reflect a lot of teamwork from the schools, because even when, say, a teacher is receiving, say, field trip funds in a classroom, that goes back towards activity funds, so it involves a lot of hard work from a lot of people. And a specific shout out to Mountain View Elementary School, who had absolutely zero managerial findings on their audit, which is amazing when you think about the amount of receipting and double checking that is present in those works. So wanted to be able to say good job to them, and Ms. Persinger was nice enough to let me do that tonight.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Any questions about that from the board? If not, that will move us on to item 26-82, approval of budget development calendar, and designation of 6 p.m. January 20th, 2026 as the date for a public hearing on the 25-26 budget. This is for action, so Ms. Halterman.
Chairman Eric, members of the board, this is your proposed budget committee calendar and your overall budget calendar, which includes some stops for the board to provide overall input. Historically, these dates have shifted a little bit as we move along, either because of scheduling conflicts, but usually because of just the timing and information coming from the state. But this is helpful for planning purposes, and just for the public, it's really helpful and important to note that hearing date that's also as part of the item here. So happy to take any questions about that, but basically follows the pace of previous years and gets us through the budget process. It's hard to believe. We're starting to collect requests from our principals. They're due in early November, and we're talking about November now.
Okay, so basically, if everybody will take a look, particularly Mr. Woodson, Mr. Littleton, as long as you all as our budget committee representatives are fine with the calendar, I think we should probably go ahead and approve it this evening, and if we have any adjustments, we can certainly do that. So, any other questions about the calendar? If not, I'll entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Umstead. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Franson. Roll call, please, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs-Duncan.
Yes.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Brings us to item 2683, school quality profile update. This is for information. Superintendent Halterman, I think this, I'm going to keep saying
It's all good. It's all good. Chairman Eric, members of the board, I'm not Sherman Callahan, but I'm helping him out this evening and get to present those school quality profile pieces. So I want to go through his memo here and add a little bit of context as well. So in an attachment down at the bottom, you can see raw pass rates for our schools and attendance metrics. Those are added on there as an important metric we've been really paying attention to in the post-pandemic context. Just for some interesting notes as you look at that data, and I realize it is hard to see on the screen from a distance, but 2 items of celebration that I just really note that pop out to me is that Covington Middle School increased in every domain last year, which is a lot of hard work and that is difficult to do. And all of the schools are making good forward progress on absenteeism, which here we mean chronic absenteeism. That's a little different than truancy. Chronic absenteeism are students who are missing 10% or more of the school year for any reason. So that's been something that we've really been tackling as a school division and that we've had a lot of board support in doing, so we greatly appreciate that. So you have comparison data from the last 2 years to help assist in identifying trends. We always want to give the slight warning that the SOLs themselves have changed in that period of time, and we know you all are aware of that as a board, but it's important to know those aren't quite apples to apples comparisons because the content of the SOLs themselves have changed. We also want to acknowledge that we are expecting the state to change what we call the cut scores. So what the requirements are on the tests for the coming year. So that is our 2026 decision. That's what we're thinking will happen. So there's a lot of updates, a lot of information still to be determined there. So our focus is obviously to meet or exceed state goals in reading, which would be 75% or higher, math and science with the target being 70% or higher. There is a little wrinkle here we want to highlight that high school social studies is still not part of the accountability profile, but this is the first year it's being published in the school quality profile. That's kind of a technical area, but we're happy to discuss that. And our accountability status is still in limbo. So we are expecting, sometimes in this early fall, and I would say it's early fall now, that VDOE will release that, Virginia Board of Education will release that. They have some new terminology for how they want to classify schools. So the terminology is a little different. Used to be you would hear about schools having improvement needs and schools that did not have improvement needs. The terminology is different and uses the term track. So schools are referred to as on track or off track. Our caution there would be is that you may see some schools that would calculate as off track, but may have been making progress from the previous year and moving forward in the right direction. It may not be that the school's going in the wrong direction, for example. It's just a terminology difference. So if you can kind of equate in your mind off track with the idea of improvement and trying to target improvement, that's helpful. That's been helpful to me. I wrote down another note here, if you'll forgive me. Really, we wanted to share how excited we were with some of the progress that we see, because we absolutely believe that everybody in Alleghany Highlands Public Schools, including the board, is trying to make a difference in the lives of our kiddos, right? And that's our primary calling. And we know that's more complicated than simply a test score. I think that's very true for everyone. But it's really wonderful to see some of the progress we see, particularly that middle grade band. That's hard-won progress. And continue to work with our team on alignment. Again, when we're talking about alignment, we mean making sure that what the activity in the classroom is aligned with what the SOL is expecting. And it's easy to get that slightly off, because sometimes the rigor might be a little harder or a little lower than it needs to be for what the child is expected to do. So when Ms. Fox was speaking tonight, I was thinking about that a little bit, and thinking about the complexity of what's needed to be mastered in 4th grade, and so proud of the alignment reflected in that. That's an example of what alignment is, because the kids are not only expected to know prefixes and suffixes, but they're expected to be able to read those words in context and understand them, which is a pretty advanced skill. So it's just an example of something that's well aligned. So complex area, we'll be providing the board with more training and updates as we move through the year, because we want you to know new information that's coming out, but there is information still evolving, and we just want to be candid about that. So there may be some more points of information and conversation this fall. Sound good?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I had a couple, I guess. Have we did like a data analysis around the data? So in other words, we have a couple of facilities that are in the 70s and 80s on most of their items, and what do we think the leading cause is of that performance? Is it class size, or is it have we dove into the data? And the other thing I would say is, although you're right, the direct trend line is higher, do we know if that's a statistical difference or you know, because we 23 to 24 we may have dropped a couple points in some items, but then in 24, 25 we came up a couple points in items. Is that really a statistical difference based on the number of people in the class taking the test, or no? I think that's kind of what I'd like to see us do, is scrub those numbers, get a little more information from the data other than just data, so that we can understand where we need to invest and help get us to where we all want to go. That's kind of what I'm looking for at.
Yeah, those are good questions. I was getting excited as I wrote them down because they're two big questions, right? But they're important questions. One of the things we see across content areas, across grade levels, and the reason we're kind of highlighting a fair amount is alignment, because sometimes there is confusion on what maybe the SOL previously said, right, and what we're expected to teach and test on during the year. So everyone across subject areas working on alignment, we felt like that's what we call a tier 1 issue. It's affecting a variety of areas, right? So that's a really important one to go at. But I'd love to give an example of kind of how this is looked at individual school levels. And I'm definitely not the principal of Deidre Watson, but I happen to be having a conversation about this recently. And Cindy Morgan and I were talking about this. And you know, she was talking about some concentrated efforts she's making that relate to all different kinds of factors in the school, right? So the dynamics of a particular grade of student, the dynamics of just all sorts of different things that are going on. And so our principals are also doing that at the school level. The loss of VBOS changes the statistical piece a little bit. I hear your question about, you know, is this statistically significant or not? And the way I would phrase that is there have been quite a large number of changes in the tests from year to year and more changes coming, that it is indeed difficult to identify what's statistically significant. And that's challenging for me because I like to be able to know how much forward momentum is that or isn't that. A good frame of reference for education in general though, and it's not a real sophisticated frame of reference with other things moving around, but a good frame of reference is a change that's 5% to 10% is unlikely to be just a fluke. Right. That's kind of where we think about it.
From the numbers, but I guess could we not, I guess, make the effort to like track, like say this year's 5th graders to next year's 6th graders as an example. Anyway, I think it's worth maybe taking a crack at it. I think I hear you on the test change. It seems like it changes with every administration, and it's probably going to change again. But you know, the students change in the 5th grade too, right? So I mean, so how can we analyze grade to grade to grade and take a look at that and see if our group that's in the 5th grade, how did they do in the 6th? Are they trending upwards? Kind of that approach.
And what you're saying makes sense. One of the places where I would say that it's easier to do that because there's fewer changes, you know, test by test and year by year, is in our reading data. And this will be the 2nd year of a pretty full-on implementation of what we call the VALS, which replaces the PALS test. So hopefully, by the end of this year in particular, maybe even in this fall, we'll have some really solid comparative data on reading. It's going to be a little easier to get it on elementary reading than the other subjects.
I have an interesting question, and I know you hate my questions. What's the correlation between passing an SOL test and your ability to read? Because when I was in doctoral program at Tech, if you can't read, I don't care what the test says. A few years ago when the superintendent was Bob Grimacy, I asked him if I could give the school board a test, and none of them would pass it. He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, well, I'm going to type it in Braille. That's not fair to them because they can't read. But I'm going to make that statement to us. I think our kids will stand a better chance if they're all reading at least on grade level. And I don't know where we stand on that because I've seen no data at all.
That's that VALS data. So I think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you did.
Okay. With that, and that's a really important piece because, to your point, and I know you're aware of this as someone who has served as an educator, all of the tests require significant amounts of reading, even the math test, significant amounts of reading. Yes. And so it's very important that kiddos unlock that, right? And by 3rd grade or so, the reading demand is high, right? And I think most of us as educators would say there are children who are definitely still learning to read in the 3rd grade, right? But the reading demand on the tests is absolutely there. So you're right, the reading levels make a huge difference, and that's part of the reason we're so excited about VALS, but we only have 1 year of that data. So starting in the fall, we'll have a little bit more.
In conversations I've had with people that I know at the State Department, they tell me that reading will probably be the single most important thing in the new lines of tests they're setting out. You gotta be able to read. I would rather see us emphasize reading than a lot of other things. And if you don't know yet about what I think of the SOLs, I'll gladly explain it to anybody that wants to hear it. I don't like them. I don't think they measure anything. They just beat the crap out of school systems. I'm done with that. Sorry.
It's okay. Any other questions? All right. Move on to item 26-84, Cougar Scholars Update. This is for information. Mr. Cantrell.
Yes, good evening, Chairman Arrett, school board members, Ms. Halterman. Going to update you on the program that we're doing that kind of hits with SOLs we implemented the other year. It's our 2nd full year, kind of kickstarting. And the goal is essentially to have all their seniors have all their SOLs completed when they walk in the door to senior, because that makes that senior year a whole lot easier when we get to that. So we started off, me and Mr. Cochran, Ms. Hale and Ms. Rather went to a conference one year and was talking about 9th grade teams. And we kind of expanded. We were going through, I guess after our first summer, looking at all SOL data and trying to figure out a way that we could put, incentivize our kids and invest in them for success. And we were looking, and ultimate goal, like I said, is how do we get our seniors when they walk in the door, they're done. Their senior years, they want to go to trade school, community college, or a 4-year school, all those things are on the table. So the idea behind that was, if they start strong and we can continue that momentum, we can get them there. So it took some convincing with our bookkeeper. Obviously, I like to give Ms. Bess a hard time with that. But what we do is after their freshman year, if they passed 100% of their SOLs, they get a Cougar Scholar t-shirt. We had one in here earlier, got a couple people that are in here as well. And the 2nd year, after their sophomore year, if they continue to do that, they get an athletic pass to all home events for free. So it's a $100 value to get into every game for the entire year. Their senior year, it's an athletic pass and a parking pass. So we're investing in our kids for their success. And, students can get in at any time. So if they didn't get in as a freshman, they can get in after their sophomore year. We also, for differentiation, if somebody earns a local verified credit, we award that as well so that, we differentiate to make that fair along the way. Some data that we had, our first year we had 277 members. This past year, when we just looked at it, we grew 11%, so we went up 31 kids. We showed good growth from that 10th to 11th grade, 11th to 12th grade. So all those areas showed good growth. There's about roughly 100 kids in every grade level that's there, so it's something we hope that we can continue and extend moving forward. We did have the honor and the luxury to talk about this and other things with consolidation. Me and Ms. Hale presented at the Virginia Secondary Principals Conference in Portsmouth this summer, and also presented at the Making Schools Work in New Orleans, talking about some of the programs and things that we helped culture within our consolidation piece. So this was one of those items that, how do we get our kids to be successful when they get to their senior year and ready to graduate? So just wanted to share a little bit about that. If you have questions, be glad to answer.
Questions?
Yes, does this go hand in hand with the project that was presented to me at the high school? What you're going to do with kids is if they don't make the SOL?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different features or different things, actually.
So you're attacking it with creativity and imagination.
It's a good way to do it.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantrell. All right, that brings us to item 26-85, consider approval of resolution designating September as Attendance Awareness Month. This is for action.
Okay, Chairman Arrett, members of the board, Superintendent Halterman, Ms. Snead Johnson. Each September is recognized throughout the nation as Attendance Awareness Month. And of course, that still remains one of the big things that we look at, because if you're not in school, you can't learn and you miss out. And one thing, when Ms. Halterman was showing you the attendance data, and let me pull it back up here again. We are definitely headed in the right direction. You know, looking at every single one of our schools dropped percentage points, which is a great thing. Sharon went from a 22% down to a 14%. Callahan went from 13.5% down to 7%. And, you know, that's not to say that the other schools, they made great gains too. And we are headed in the right direction. So with that being said, we are coming to you to ask you to approve a resolution designating September as Attendance Awareness Month for Alleghany Highlands Public Schools. And I think you all have that. And
got a copy of it here. Would you like me to read that?
Sure. You do such a great job reading.
I'd appreciate, thank you for the hard copy because it makes my eyes,
Yes.
I don't have an excuse. Whereas chronic absenteeism and truancy are significant challenges that impact student achievement, social development, and long-term success, and whereas consistent school attendance is strongly correlated with higher academic performance, improved graduation rates, and greater opportunities for post-secondary success and workforce readiness, and whereas September has been recognized nationally as Attendance Awareness Month to mobilize schools, families, and communities to promote the value of regular school attendance and to take concrete steps to reduce chronic absence, and whereas reducing barriers to attendance and supporting students and families in establishing strong attendance habits are essential to ensuring equity and success for all learners, and whereas the Alleghany Highlands Public Schools are committed to working in partnership with families, staff, and community stakeholders to improve student attendance and support the success of every student. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Alleghany Highlands Public School Board designates September 2025 as Attendance Awareness Month in recognition of the vital role attendance plays in student learning, achievement, and lifelong success. And be it further resolved that the board encourages schools, families, and community partners to collaborate in raising awareness of the importance of daily attendance and to support the initiatives that reduce chronic absenteeism. Adopted this 15th day, September 2025. We can say that if I can have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Umstead.
Second.
Second by Ms. Scruggs Duncan. Roll call, please, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Eric,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ramson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton,
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs Duncan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead,
Yes.
and Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And may I just add one more thing too? Mr. Cantrell was talking, they have the Cougar Code, and the kids are really buying into that because attendance is a little bit a part of that. And last week, Alleghany High School, and being in the secondary school, attendance usually plummets. They had 3 days where they were at the 96% attendance rate each day. So that just goes to show that the kids are buying into that.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you highlighted that because as soon as you started presenting, I thought about seeing that on our Facebook page.
Yes,
So
yes, so
good work
kudos
already.
to Alleghany High School.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Brings us to item 26-86, consider approval of resolution, thank you, designating October as Bullying Prevention Month. This is for action, and you've gone ahead and given me the hard copy, so.
Chairman Eric,
Yes.
Superintendent Haltman, school board members, of course, as you have before you, the VSBA Bullying Prevention Month resolution, asking for you to pass for the month of October, which is Bully Prevention Month.
Now's my time to read it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whereas school bullying has become an increasingly significant problem in the United States and Virginia, and whereas nearly 20% of the youth in the United States are estimated to be involved in bullying each year, either as a bully or as a victim, and whereas an estimated 10% of elementary schools, 15% of high schools, and 28% of middle schools reported the occurrence of bullying at school at least once a week, and whereas bullying can take many forms, including verbal, physical, and electronic, and can happen in many places, both on and off school grounds. Whereas it is important for Virginia parents, students, teachers, and school administrators to be aware of bullying and to encourage discussion of the problem as a school community. And whereas the Alleghany Highlands School Board has developed a model policy to encourage positive behavior and eliminate bullying behaviors. Now therefore, the Alleghany Highlands School Board recognizes the month of October 2025 as VSBA Bullying Prevention Month, with the intention that the issue of bullying and its prevention be discussed in Virginia schools and classrooms during that time. Adopted in Alleghany County, Virginia, this 15th day of September 2025. Do I have a motion?
Let me ask a question. Would it be unrealistic or unreasonable to say bullying should be eliminated 24 months a year, just not 1 month? I think we ought to deal with it every year, every day, because it happens all the time. Especially when kids are out of school and they're being bullied by phones or whatever else. October's good, but I think it should be every day of the school year.
You want me to read this every month?
As long as you're reading it, I'm not that. I'm happy with that.
Well, I think, to your question, I think October is just traditionally the VSBA's time to raise the awareness of it. I think your point is well taken, that we have to be doing what we can, both to discourage bullying, but then also to fortify our students, I think, day in and day out, to be as resistant as they can be to bullying. Because bullying happens at every stage of life as well.
It's extra awareness. Every day, all the principals and staff, they deal with it on a daily basis and they try to prevent it. But like I said, during the month of October, the goal is just put an extra emphasis on it, put cherry on top, if you will.
I also heard that the state was going to develop a hotline for parents to call if the schools weren't doing anything with bullying. Have they done that, Kim? Are they going to do that?
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that. Now we have on our website, and Mr. Ross may want to speak to it, but we have a bullying report form, or otherwise a concern report form. Every now and again, I go in and test it, make sure it's working, right? And it does shoot that email to multiple administrators. So that's a local option that exists, particularly if someone is for some reason not feeling comfortable coming to someone at school, or maybe they're aware of something in an off hour and they want to go ahead and report it. We do have that available on our website, but I'm not aware of a statewide hotline unless Mr. Ross is.
I am not at this present time.
Do you see much effort from that form?
Mr. Ross is the better person to ask because he automatically gets all of those, but I don't believe we do.
We don't. I would say 10 to 12 a year on average.
And if it's not reported, you can't do anything about it. Sometimes you can't do anything about it anyway.
We try.
Thank you. Only one thing I would say is, is anything that we can do collectively or individually to assist, not only, the administration at the building level or you guys. I think it is a pet peeve. Kids, everyone learns better, works better if there's no sense of uneasiness, right? So bullying leads to that. It causes absenteeism, right? It causes all kinds of bad things. So I think this is one of the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. So anything that we can do to support any activity along these lines, I think we will, we should, and I certainly will.
Of course, the biggest things you can do is just talk to families, talk to kids, talk to everyone. Just make sure they're aware. Don't do these type of behaviors, or if you see these type of behaviors, report them to someone.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Rose?
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Well, will you?
If no more questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Olmsted. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Scruggs Duncan. Roll call, please, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
And Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
That's good. I like that.
Okay. That brings us to item 26-87, the annual homebound report for 24-25. This is for information.
So Chairman Eric, members of the board, I'm helping out from Melinda tonight. This is our homebound and home-based report from last year. So this is something Dr. Conaway had a lot to do with before he left. So we're thankful that he did that work and that Ms. Steve Johnson and Ms. Stanton have been carrying forward. Homebound and home-based, just as a reminder, homebound is typically used when a student's having a medical need, and they cannot be at school for some reason. Home-based is often driven by an IEP team or a 504 team in some cases to provide for a student's appropriate education. So this report just shows the amount of monies expended on the work, the numbers of students that access those services, and I think really importantly, 16 instructors in the community who helped us out with this. So some of those people are people who work all day and then help with homebound and home-based, and some of those people are retirees and people who otherwise work in the community, and we really appreciate all that service.
Thank you very much. Any questions about the homebound?
Does this fall under the heading of kids that are not in school because they're being home taught?
So there's also a homeschool report. So the homebound report is solely the people who have requested homebound services because they're having like a medical need or something of that nature, right? Or sometimes something driven by the IEP team for a student who might have a need to be at home for some reason, might not be health, right? But then homeschooling would be is a different number.
Is a wonderful segue because that is item 26-88, annual homeschool report. This is also
And Chairman Eric, members of the board, this is something also that Ms. Steve Johnson does a fabulous job keeping up with, and Ms. Baker helps her here in this office, and lots of people work on this. So this is just a report that shows you numbers of students who are home instructed in our community. The variance is, similar from year to year, and so that is just there for your information and for the number of students. So that's traditionally been something that we've shared. And it includes also the number for religious exemptions and those kinds of things. So for your information.
Thank you very much. Any questions about this?
Do we know what the state average is as far as like on a percentage basis by school division? Just curious.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I don't know that average. I know there are school divisions that run even close to 30% of students in this category,
Right, so there's a lot of variance by community. So there were school divisions that saw very large spikes or drops close to the pandemic. It really varies geographically, I know that, and I don't know that I know a statewide average.
Thank you very much. That would then bring us to item 26-89, the annual out-of-zone and non-resident update. This is for information.
Listened to me talk last night. Thank you very much. We're helping out with Melinda here as well. This is one of her reports. She does a wonderful job keeping up with these statistics and working with our principals on these statistics as well. So this is our number of students who are from out of their catchment zone, if you will, right? So a student who might be zoned on one elementary school might be attending another elementary school. That's usually where we see it. Or non-resident students, so those would be students in other areas. Maybe they live in Bath County or Botetourt County and they're accessing our schools. So these are those numbers for reference. When we have to make the difficult decision to that if we can accommodate a student in the building, we do follow the policy and regulation we have approved for that purpose.
Any questions about the out-of-zone and non-resident update? If not, that will move us on to item 26-90. Consider approval of new school zone signage. This is for action.
Good evening, Chairman Eric, members of the Alleghany Highlands Public School Board, Mrs. Halterman, guests, staff here for our school division. I'm here tonight. We had talked about over the last few months about networking. This is exactly what happened. I got a phone call a couple weeks ago from a deputy sheriff, Alleghany County Deputy Aaron Smith, called and stated that he had a concern because there was not a 25-mile-per-hour flashing sign up on the school access road going into Mountain View Equipment Academy. Now, years ago, it had been proposed, and I guess it kind of fell through the wayside, and I appreciated him reaching out to do this. So in return of his phone call, I contacted Susan Hammond with VDOT, our local engineer, resident engineer, And she gave us some provisions and things that we have to do to make this happen. So what it would be is this, during the times we designate that area, it would go from a 35-mile-an-hour zone to a 25-mile-an-hour zone, because we do get a lot of complaints of speeding over there on that access road right beside the interstate before you cross the bridge. We would be responsible to purchase the signage, and we would be responsible to maintain them, and we would also be responsible to have them installed. So they are costly, but you know, there's several companies that would probably work with us, and we would see how, you know, what kind of pricing it would be. But in order to proceed, I'm asking tonight that you all would vote to approve this, and we can start, hopefully have this done in a pretty very, very recent timely manner. We can get it accomplished. And so I need some approval tonight. That's VDOT's requirement, that we have that so we can start the process. And I know that, like I said, it would be back down towards the county complex. There would be one solar powered, and then going to the school and then coming back across the bridge once you hit the access road near our signage over there. It would come and facing back going towards the county building the opposite direction. So they would maintain that. And it would be designated as a 25-mile-an-hour school zone only during those times, and that's when the lights would be operational and flashing.
Do you mean where the road separates and the road that goes to Mountain View comes up by the interstate?
Correct.
And the other roads go on down to more industrial sites, so after the road separates?
There's a speed limit sign as you start up that little incline. This is 35. And so the sign, somewhere in there, and we would have VDOT work with us to do this. There's somewhere in that area, the sign would be placed there so it wouldn't be obstructing traffic or anything, or any kind of views. And then it would start from that point all the way up to the bridge. And in the mornings and the afternoons, it would be designated at 25 during the school traffic time.
So it's pretty much for the people that are going to the school. There may be, what, one house on that road? It's not.
Urban Farm, right? Yeah, there's one home, and it's not main. It's
or
not.
People going to the line.
Correct. So, but it would be very helpful, especially with the school buses coming in out there and the parents bringing kids. And I've spoken to both administrators, Mrs. Looney and Mrs. Thompson, and both have expressed too that there are some concerns with speeding and things. And this also would help and law enforcement, the state and the county would help with the radar patrols. That's the only school in our district that does not have the 25-mile-an-hour flashing signs, and Alleghany High School up on Valley Ridge Road is not either. So we may want to look into that as well. But I just need the approval tonight if you would be willing to do that. And also, if you also want to tonight, and I don't know if you could do this, but if you could, we could also maybe look at going and get the approval to look at Valley Ridge Road for that point as well. We could add that.
So how many signs are you looking at?
Well, if you did Valley Ridge and Mountain View, you would need 4.
What is the cost?
Estimated anywhere.
Mr. Harris, can you fill that together?
I think you can. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, probably the question was how much are the signs? Anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, depending. But the solar way is the best way to go, because if you had to run electric and stuff, that really gets really expensive. So, and I don't know if you can include that in what's been presented tonight, but if you could.
I don't see a reason why we can't, as long as it's the board's prerogative.
I'll make a motion that we add Valley Ridge Road to the proposal presented by Mr. Fisher.
Okay.
And purchase 6 of
No,
4
this
signs.
is to add it.
This is to add it to the agenda.
We have to have 2 votes.
I second Mr. Woodson's motion to add that to the proposal.
You follow?
We're adding an agenda item.
We're gonna amend 2690 to also include Valley Ridge Road.
But I also want to speak with Mrs. Hammond on that as well too, just so we're all clear what we're trying to do.
But you'll just have our authorization as to whether or not that's required.
Correct.
So I think we've captured the spirit of that. So I think just a motion for considering the approval of new school zone signage with the addition of considerations for Mountaineer Drive. Is that it?
There's a motion on the floor now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion.
And a second.
The motion was by Mr. Woodson. Our second was by Mr. Duncan. Oh, I'm sorry.
So sorry, we've had a technical difficulty. We're trying to make sure we have our call lit up. So apologies.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, so Ms. Scruggs, you were the second?
I was.
Okay.
For adding
Sorry.
the high school to that.
We'll get most proxy votes.
Welcome and thank you for. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. If you do not know your PIN, please enter pound or hash. Please announce yourself.
Alleghany Highlands School Board. Hello. Hey, John. Gerald, are you with us too?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do need to clarify one thing. On Valley Ridge Road there at the apartments, between the apartments and the old golf course, it's already a 25 zone, so we might want to consider just flashing lights.
Okay.
But we'll also look at Mountaineer Drive too. We'll put all that together in one. I just wanted to clarify.
Well,
that.
and what we're amending this for is just to allow you the authority to look at signage.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just to be clear, what we have is a motion and a second for the adjustment of the agenda. So.
Just adjustment of the,
26 days.
Right, we can adjust with this motion to include
Yes, ma'am.
the item, so yes, we're
Yeah,
good.
we're gonna
We're
do that,
ready.
and then we'll vote on that item, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanna
Sorry
make
to
sure
throw
we're on the
that
same
curve,
page.
but we can go and get it done tonight. It'd be great.
That's okay. It looks like we hit the curve ball, so it's fine. So Mr. Olmstead's coming back. So we had a motion and a second. So Ms. Willis, if you will, a roll call for that, please.
Mr. Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Williamson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Let me ask a question, if I may. Does this include GRTC, that road?
Yes.
15 miles an hour. It's the same road.
Same road?
It's the same vicinity.
Okay.
No flashing lights, but that's what this,
Yeah.
Yes.
if somebody wants to run radar on it, then they might do well.
Mr. Winston.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have that amended. Now I would like a motion and a second for the approval of what we just amended.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Olmstead, a second by Mr. Woodson. Roll call, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good.
Thank you all.
Thank you. That would bring us to item 26-91, a comprehensive plan update. This is for information. Superintendent Halterman.
Sure, Chairman Eric, members of the board, just want to remind you our comprehensive plan remains under revision. It is, the draft version of it is available for you in the agenda as well as in a couple other places. Happy to hear feedback on that. Would remind everybody the comprehensive plan is prescribed by the state, right? So there are different components that have to be included in the comprehensive plan. We have a little bit more flexibility when we're talking about our strategic plan, our capital improvement plan, some of the other plans that we do around about this time of the year. So just want to throw that out there. But this is a plan that's available for review. The idea of the comprehensive plan is it's pretty comprehensive, so it does include a little bit of everything that we do, which is kind of interesting. It does make it a little bit long, and we understand that. So we want to make sure it's clear. We want to make sure it's something that we can use as a decent tool when we're doing like maybe a grant application or something of that nature. It does include our strategic priorities, and please don't let that be confusing. We realize the strategic plan is under review as well. The 3 strategic priorities are included in this plan. Also, our advisory committees are being used to provide some input on this plan, so they're going to be receiving this also via email this week, so that they can provide any thoughts and feedback. We had our first advisory committee meetings last week, and we were able to talk about this a little bit. So. It is a plan out there that's under revision and review. As you know, we have lots of plans, but this is one that we only see in a full review. We can review it at any time, but a full review about every 2 years. So we appreciate any feedback you would offer on that, which can absolutely be provided by email if you prefer.
Okay. Thank you very much. That would then move us to item 26-92, consider approval of vehicles recommended for sale. This is for action.
I'm happy to share those on behalf of your organization if that pleases the group. Was that, I didn't miss Shane, did I? Okay, very good. Or Christina, I didn't want to jump in if I shouldn't. This what this is, Chairman Aaron, members of the board, are vehicles that are currently recommended for sale. They're either vehicles that have aged out of our fleet, they need to be considered for sale. They're not going to interrupt any ongoing transportation needs. So there are multiple buses listed in a special education bus, and we do have to list them by exactly which bus they are, so you see that on your memo.
Any questions about this? It is for action. Questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I can motion we approve.
Motion by Mr. Woodson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead. Roll call, please, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Gerald.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Crux Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
And Mr. Woodson.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. That would bring us to the policy portion of tonight's meeting. And with that, we have item 26-93, review of meal change policy EFB. This is for information.
Good evening, Chairman Arrett, Superintendent, Ms. Halterman, and members of the board. I'm here this evening to provided you all with a copy of the updated requirements for our meal policy. But fortunately for us, being CEP division-wide, this doesn't pertain to us at this time. But the main things that are required now is how we are going to communicate the policy, which is highlighted, then also who is responsible for communicating, and then if families need assistance when they're trying to apply for reduced meals, we would provide assistance. And then if we have meal charges, how we handle those. But again, like I said, this is not something that we're required to do right now. It's just something we need to have to be in compliance with the USDA. Our CEP is something that I do every spring in April. And our percentages right now look good, except for we do have Callahan, their percentages have dropped. But we have 2 more years that we can stay CEP as we are right now. But it is something that we look at every spring, and I can update you all in the spring with any changes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bobby. Next item would be 2694, review of policy updates GCBD-RA. This is for information.
And Chairman and members of the board, I'm also acting on behalf of Fred Vaughn tonight to bring this one forward for information. This is GCBD-RA, which is a sick leave policy. It increases the accumulation of sick leave maximum to maximum 90 days for VRS hybrid employees. So our employees participate under different VRS plans, and they have different requirements for how much sick leave they can accumulate, and it creates some additional clarifications. Those hybrid employees also have the benefit of short-term disability, which is different from your people who are in VRS 1, VRS 2. So it does get a little bit complicated, but basically this is a clarification that makes sure that we have the maximum available of sick leave days to be accumulated by those hybrid employees, and it is for information for action hopefully next month.
Very much. The next 3 are policy action items. Ms. Halterman, are all of these more of the cursory changes that we've seen in the past?
They are all in that category, except there's one thing I want to highlight, making sure of that. They're the same as what you saw last month. There's not been any changes since there. On the students policy, this does make that policy, JFC, student conduct, align with the Code of Virginia, which now includes references to cyberbullying. That was a change that occurred in July in the Code of Virginia. So that one's a little bit more than a clerical change. The other ones are primarily clerical changes.
Would it please the board to take these up individually, or should we can always take them as a group if we'd like to for expediency? Anybody have any preference? I would prefer to take them as a group, given that we have minor changes.
Take them as a group.
Yeah, okay. All right, if that's the case, then nothing more to color in on any of these changes. So I would entertain a motion and a second to consider approval of policy section D, fiscal management updates, policy section J, students, and policy section K, school community relations.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Umstead. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Scruggs Duncan. Roll call, please, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
And Mr. Worthing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. 26-98, there are no additions to the agenda. That would bring us then, item 2699, public comment. Do we have anyone signed up, Ms. Willis?
We do not.
No one signed up. Is anyone wanting to speak? All right, moving on. That would bring us to 26-100, school board member and superintendent comments. Ms. Scruggs Duncan has volunteered. Yes, ma'am.
The first thing I'd like to do is welcome our new colleague here on my right. Ms. Peyton Broofman is our student representative for the school board, and she has prepared. She read all the stuff, and I think we're proud to have her here. The other things I wanted to probably mention about tonight, kudos to the teachers of those outstanding students who scored 100% on their SOLs. There are children with a lot of ability, but it's the teachers who help get the information in there and help them learn how to express that in a test form. Also to the parents of those students, the students themselves, but there's a cocktail of people who come into play when you have students that are exceeding on that level. I also loved the energy and passion that I saw in Mrs. Fox as she taught us about morphology. I can just imagine in her classroom how she inspires the students there. And all our teachers, you know, I wanted to comment and sort of got ahead of myself at the last regular meeting because Facebook was full of these teachers who were preparing their classrooms and the excitement that they had for their students to come into these rooms, and I just think we're very blessed in this school system to have teachers who care that much. And that's really all I have.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Scruggs Duncan. Mr. Umstead.
All right. I don't like saying this, but I'd like to thank all of you for coming out. I enjoyed this. This is probably the best meeting that I have enjoyed dealing with. The kids have scored well on the SOL test. Small number. I'd like to see that improve. I think it improves when kids come to school. So I'd like to thank Ms. Fox for the work she did last year, the 2 assemblies you had, honoring the kids that came to school regularly. Derek, the creativity at the high school to me is absolutely phenomenal. If I'm excited about going to a concert or something, I'm going to make sure I get there. Kids are excited about school, they're going to come. You 4 up there continue to do that job because it's wonderful. And the athletic teams that aren't here that competed last week did a wonderful job, represented the county well. Appreciate that. If anybody that's an administrator wants me to come to their building to help them with anything, please don't call me. I will gladly help you with anything that I can, because I'm getting old, but education to me is the most important thing in the world. I want kids to be educated so they can get jobs and continue to pay my Social Security. I totally want that. And kids, if taught properly, will want to come back. If they feel welcomed, they feel the warmth of the community, they'll come back. They will come back. I would like Ms. Fox to come to every meeting we have and tell us what the enrollment is of kids that are coming back. Because that's very important to me. Because like I said about the reading, you can't pass an SOL test unless you understand what you're being taught to test. If they come, they're going to do well. Other than that, thank you. Well, one more thing. Gabe Miller, a kid I coached 5 years ago, finished 9th in an ODAC invitational. Is that right?
It wasn't just ODAC, it was
Open Invitational. 100 and some kids.
Yeah.
Finished 8th. Pretty impressive. And he's going to graduate this year. That's not what I want to tell you. He's going to be one of those students again that leaves Alleghany, goes to college, and becomes a doctor or a lawyer. He took the LCAT and did very well on it, now he's got his choice of schools. That stuff like that should represent us very well in the future. All right, until my voice is getting squeaky, I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. Olmsted. Mr. Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Olmsted, for the recognition of my son. Appreciate that. He represents us well. I'm proud of him. I want to welcome Ms. Brofman. Thank you for being here. It's I'm very, very, very excited to have a student representative on our board now, and I think you were a good pick, and welcome to the board. You know, in light of last week's terrific news, I just wanted to mention and continue to pray for families of Irina Zaretska. I hope I pronounced her last name correctly, and Charlie Kirk. I think with needless death of two very promising young individuals, and I hope that our country can do better and will do better, and I continue to pray for our country. I think praying for our area and praying for our school system and our kids locally. I think we need to learn how to have civil debate and cordial disagreements and demonstrate kindness above all else. So I continue to pray for that all. SOLs, I congratulate the folks that in attendance today. I think getting a perfect score on anything is something to be very proud of. And yes, we have a couple hurdles in our way, but I think if we tackle this at every level and try to help each other achieve better, we can and we will. And that's why we're here, is to support you guys, give you anything you need if we can afford it, and or change something if we need to, a policy or whatever it may be. Let's think outside the box. I think the high school's doing that. I think that you guys are on point right now, and I just appreciate that very much. I think the scholars, the AHS Scholar program is super. I think the Cougar Code, again, super. So kudos. Keep those kind of things coming. And how do we help? What can we do to help you? Whatever it is, let us know. And the other thing I just ask is, I still want us to get the capital project meeting together if we can, to where we can, as a board, go through and prioritize those projects jointly. Again, I wish we had the money to do them all right now. I know we don't. So how do we tackle those and eat the elephant a bite at a time? That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Mr. Franson.
Yes, sir. I too want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to apologize for not being there. I really hate doing phone calls and Zooms, but I can't get there. I want to thank and congratulate our perfect score students. I want to congratulate Ms. Fox on her, I think she said it was wordology.
Morphology.
That's how you,
Morphology.
that's how you get kids involved and want to learn. The other thing is, there's got to be some way that we can look at our perfect score kids, look at our perfect scores teachers, parents, and figure out some way to get our SOLs up. What they're doing right. And maybe we need to find the formula for that so that other students can, and parents and teachers can do it right. I want to welcome Ms. Brookman to our board. It does my heart good to see students on our board. The other thing is, I want everybody to keep Charlie Kirk's family in their prayers. And what we need in our country, in our area, is more love, more compassion, more be able to talk to somebody about a issue we don't agree with and not want to kill them or not want to hurt them. we need to, you know, we need to have that godly passion to love each other and to be able to agree to disagree without getting all bent out of shape. Okay? Not all of us is going to agree on everything. Not all of us agreed on the CMS thing. It worked out. We just gotta, we've just gotta come together as an area, as a school system, as a country, to be more loving, to be more compassionate, and more forgiving. But I thank y'all. I thank you for all you do, all the teachers, the administration, the bus drivers, the paraprofessionals, the maintenance people, teachers, aides, cafeteria people. All y'all work your tails off, and I want you to know I appreciate it, and I'm sure our board does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Franson. Mr. Littleton.
I too want to apologize for not being able to make it there in person tonight. But I also want to thank everybody who is there. I want to thank all of our staff from the top administration all the way to the buildings, teachers, professionals, everybody. It takes everyone to make it happen. And I thank them very much. I want to also congratulate the SOL winners. And also thank Ms. Fox for her great presentation. And I also want to welcome Ms. Brooklyn on board. Look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Littleton. So, Ms. Broofman, if you will.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I would like to start off, I'm more than honored to be up here today. I would like to thank the board and Ms. Halterman for giving me this wonderful opportunity. First off, I would like to congratulate the youth on their SOL scores. They have a long road ahead of them, coming from a senior who finished her junior year, but I know they'll succeed. If they're doing wonderful things now, I can only imagine what they will do once they're in middle school or high school. I adore what Ms. Fox had said when she came up about her morphology graphic. It's teachers like her who leave a lasting impression on students. I personally have teachers ranging from elementary school up to high school who have left an impression on me, for sure. Her compassion was shown through her words, and that's what we need today in our education system. I would like to thank Mr. Contrell for bringing up Cougar Scholars. I'm one myself, and it's a wonderful opportunity for teens at the high school. Not only does it give them these steps to do better, it encourages them and it gives them these goals to meet and these rewards. I've gotten a parking pass and I've gotten athletic pass, and as a teen, that has saved me a lot of money. And one thing I'd like to talk about too, thank you Mr. Ross for bringing up the Bullying Prevention Month. Bullying, whether it's cyberbullying, verbal bullying in person, it's an awful thing, but it also correlates with this month, it's Suicide Prevention Month. And I think this is very important to highlight on, because not only as educators, you don't just want to educate these students, you need to be there for their mental health. Not only just students, your colleagues, your family members, friends, even a stranger. The smallest act of kindness goes a long way, especially in today's society. So just by giving someone a small smile, asking them how their day was, can completely change their mindset. So I'd really like you to think about that. But other than that, I would like to say a huge thank you to everyone who came out today, and to everyone who give a proposition or an idea. But again, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brookman. Superintendent Halton.
Yeah, so it's going to feel like I'm echoing people tonight, but I really appreciate all the sentiments. It's wonderful to see a good crowd in the room, and it's wonderful to cover this much ground in the meeting, because we really did just cover a lot of ground. And to get excited about those students who've done so well on their SOL test, whether it's individual recognition for a 600 or it's acknowledgement of something like CMS improving in every area we measure. I mean, we get very excited about all those things, and we really need to celebrate and honor all those points of progress. Very excited for those attendance metrics too, and really want to just highlight that. That's a lot of hard work from a lot of people, that students and parents and teachers and everyone working together to increase that student attendance. And that really matters for our community and ultimately matters for our community in the future when we think about all the obligations we have as adults, whether it's work or home or all the different things that we do. So wonderful to have those things. The emphasis on reading tonight was very heartening, and we'd like to also, again, recognize that we have student representative again. So this is very exciting. It's wonderful to have that energy in the room. Thank you so much for being here. One other piece that I wanted to highlight really quickly, I just happened to be reviewing some data over the weekend because I was thinking about Bullying Prevention Month, I was thinking about Attendance Month, and kind of looking back at our last school culture and climate surveys. And those are snapshots in time, and I want to emphasize that. They're survey snapshots in time, and we all know those aren't perfect. But in the context of recognizing our SROs last month and in what we're doing with attendance and bullying as we move into the fall, it was really exciting for me to remember again that the AHPS averages are higher than the regional and state averages for students feel safe at school, staff feel safe at school, students feel safe traveling to and from school, and staff have confidence in emergency procedures. And that hits my heart, right? I mean, those are things that matter for just feeling good about your day, right? And again, it is survey data. I want to be frank about that. You know, surveys can change from moment to moment. But that was just exciting for me to review, and it gave me another reason to say thank you to our SROs again, even though we thanked them last month, and to everybody involved in that team effort. So I believe that's all I wrote down for tonight. It's been a busy night. I hope I got it all.
Thank you very much. Well, the beauty of my position here is I do not have to rehash everything. As has been said, we've had a good, productive meeting tonight. There are a couple things I have to go back over. First and foremost is to welcome Ms. Brookman here. We're very glad to have you. And I will kind of, quadruple down on the SOL, more than that anyway. The SOL scores, like Ms. Scruggs-Duncan said, that is a wonderful example of what happens when you have willing students and great teachers, and this is what happens. And we know not everybody can have a perfect score on things. It's not possible to a great degree, but we always strive for that, and I very much appreciate all of the hard work from teachers and administrators, because without you that doesn't happen. Also like to congratulate you. We're basically through the first month, so that's kind of a milestone in and of itself. So we'll turn around twice and we'll be talking about graduation, but we got a long way before we get there. And that's all I have for this evening. So that brings us to item 26-101, closed session, Code of Virginia. We have item 2.2-3711A1, personnel matters, actual and potential appointments, assignments, resignations, terminations, and salaries. 2.2-3711A7, legal matters, discussion, briefing by staff members pertaining to actual or probable litigation. And 2.2-3711A19, discussion of school safety reports. Do I have a motion and a second to enter closed session?
Make one.
A motion by Mr. Scruggs-Duncan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead, I believe. Roll call, please, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scruggs-Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
And Mr. Whitten.
Yes, ma'am.
Closed session. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, I'm trying to.